costs on their end too to produce the audiobook. It's very time consuming and costly for them. So you'll pay them something up front and you will also share royalties. These are your three options. Now, if you pay per finished hour and are exclusive to ACX, your royalty rate is 40%. If you go wide, it's 25%. And you can keep doing that. You can terminate your contract after 90 days. You can ask to go non-exclusive if you've paid up front. If you did not pay up front and you're obligated to your narrator, you have to get their consent and you may have to buy them out to do that. On ACX, you can solicit narrators yourself. You can go through the narrator search process. You can take auditions. It's a very easy step-by-step route to follow. Everything is documented within ACX, all your correspondence back and forth with the narrator. So it's not very hard to do this. You don't need an ISBN number, although I do suggest you get your own because then you will be seen as the publisher rather than ACX. With ACX, you do get giveaway codes and bounty bonuses if you're lucky enough to get that. The only word of advice I have is claim your books on ACX, even if you do not plan on producing them now or in the future, because other people may step in and do it instead. So you just go through claiming your book, the initial process, you sign the agreement, and then you exit out of ACX. So you're not really obligated to do anything, but you have reserved your titles. Okay. Now, Findaway Voices has very wide distribution, including Chirp and the library markets. And since I switched, because I went exclusive with ACX first, and then I went non-exclusive and put my books up on Findaway, I think I'm making more money with Findaway than with ACX. So it really, plus you have more promotional opportunities. Now their fee is 20%, so if you pay up front, you're going to get 80%. And you can figure out the math here. It's confusing, but it kind of ends up being the same thing as on ACX. You do need an ISBN number, although they offer to provide a free one. Again, I suggest you get your own, so you are listed as the publisher. And so you have pretty much the same choices here that you have on ACX in terms of paying up front, sharing the royalty with the narrator without paying anything up front, or doing a combination of both. Findaway Voices also has an author's direct store where you can sell your audiobooks directly to consumers. So that's something they have that ACX doesn't have. And you can set your own prices on Findaway. That's another benefit to this site. Note that if you are just distributing through Findaway, there may be an upload fee. However, if your ebook is distributed at all through Draft2 Digital, you can go through that site and the fee will be waived. Findaway and Spotify, if you've heard of that one, are now merged. So you also get the benefit of Spotify promotional codes. I'm going to throw this offer out here right now too. I'm willing to give you a promotional code for the first book in my mystery series, Perm to Death, and I'll tell you how to get that at the end of this talk. Oh yes, okay. The final thing here is opt out of the machine learning clause in your distribution agreement. So various author sites like the Authors Guild, etc., have determined that at the very end of the Findaway agreement, there was this little thing. Was it Findaway or ACX? I think it was Findaway. There was a paragraph added that said you allow your books to your audiobooks to be used by Apple's machine learning for artificial intelligence, tacked at the very end of the agreement. So you can opt out of this clause and make sure it's not in any contracts for regular books or ebooks or audiobooks, because it kind of gives permission for the AI to use your book to produce things that they may put you out of business. So you need to watch out for that particular clause. So how do you get started? The first thing that you do is setting up your title on ACX. This is the same process that you start if you just want to claim your titles. You go to ACX and you put in your Amazon ASIN number or your title, and the information from Amazon will pop up. Then you either say, I'm looking for someone to narrate my audiobook, or I already have an audiobook and just want to upload it. Again, if you're claiming your books, you say you're looking for somebody to narrate your audiobook. The next page is an agreement. You can sign the agreement, and if you're just reserving your titles, that's as far as you need to go. If you're continuing, then you fill in all the book details, the metadata, and your story description. Then comes up something called additional comments, and this is where you pitch yourself as an author, because the narrators are going to see your book popped up that it's available for applications, and they're going to read about you. So you need to sell yourself as an author. Have you won awards? How many people are following you on Twitter or Facebook? What makes you special? Has your series won any awards? This is the kind of thing that you want to put in your comment section. And of course, you will need to decide what kind of voice you're looking for in a narrator. Is it male or female? Is it cheerful? Is it sultry? Is it taciturn? To qualify the narrator's voice qualities. Next, you will be asked to choose your payment plan, which we have already discussed. So it's either royalty share, where you pay nothing up front, royalty share plus, where you pay something for the narrator's expenses and split the royalty. You pay per hour, which means you retain all of the rights, but you pay in full. And if you want to be exclusive or non-exclusive, you have no choice with royalty share, but you do with pay per hour. So per finished hour, just to give you an idea, I was paying down below here $200 per finished hour that I agreed upon with my narrator. So perm to death was a little over 7 hours, and it cost me $14.48. Murder by manicure was a little less, and that cost me $13.74. So just kind of figure on $1,500 for if you're going to pay up front, but that's at $200 per finished hour. If you get somebody who is a Screen Actors Guild member, I think their minimum may be $250, so they'll have a minimum. But on the narrator sites, on ACX at least, they list how much they're willing to accept, and you can negotiate that. If you go exclusive, you get 40% royalty. If you are non-exclusive, you get 25% royalty. So these are all choices that you'll have to make. Now, ACX has a strange way of calculating the royalty rates based on whether the person is a subscriber to their monthly plan, or if they randomly buy your book, or if they use a credit card. I don't quite get it, but this is the definitions of all the different ways they will calculate your royalty. And then this is an example of a royalty report with those different categories up on the top there. If you can understand it, let me know, because it's puzzling to me. I just kind of go with the bottom line. So this is where you fill in the book details. This one's for the second book in my Bad Hair Day Mysteries. So the about my book, that's your story blurb, essentially. And that comes off of Amazon, but you can change it as you go along here. The copyright information and the categories that your book, fiction, nonfiction, and category like cozy mystery. So this comes up first. And here's the author info, which it asks for under additional comments. So, you can see I put, I'm author of over 20 novels. I have an active online presence, 10,000 blog subscribers, yada, yada. This is where you try to sell yourself as an author and that you will be promoting and marketing this title. This is the whole one that I did for Body Wave, which is the fourth book in my series. And I listed some awards and then my social media organizations that I belong to. This was my whole pitch. So now these are the qualities in the voice that you're looking for. You get to pick the gender, the age of the voice, the language, the vocal style, which is really the mood that you want to get across, and a person's accent. You have a choice of different accents. Next thing that you'll be asked to do is to submit a script that's about 15 minutes long. Now, this does not have to be a continuous passage of your work. You can include different passages because you want to especially have one that's exposition to see how it sounds in the narrator's voice if she keeps things interesting. And you want a dialogue with different characters to see if you can differentiate them. So this is really important to go through your book and see which examples would give you the best evaluation. You'll also be including notes with your script about the different characters. Sometimes I'll even send along a list of all the cast members. And what quality voice does each person have? Are there special pronunciations? Anything that the narrator would need to know? Now, here's a tip. When you are writing your book and developing your characters, include something about each person's voice when they first appear on stage. So you will have this done up front hereafter, and you won't have to go searching for what kind of voice did this character speak in, if anything. And once you submit your script, then you're going to wait to hear back from the narrators. Okay, these are my script notes from Body Wave. So I said Marla Shore, who's my hairstylist sleuth, she's a confident, professional, competent. I can't read all of that. It's blocked over here. Stan is her irritating ex-spouse because he's in the snatch of dialogue that I provided. Detective Vale is Marla's love interest. He has a sexy, smooth voice. And Miriam is the elderly patriarch of the Pearl family who asked Marla to investigate the death of her granddaughter. So these are the people who are going to be appearing in the dialogue that I submit. And this is where you submit it on ACX. Okay, so these are where you can put in your script notes. And then you will upload the script file either as a Word, PDF, or text. And then you save it and continue. So it's pretty easy doing all this stuff, especially once you've gone through it once. Now, if you want to look at the narrators yourself or research the ones who have submitted a audition, you can go to where there's filters and do a search. And you can play samples from each of the narrators. So let's say you're getting impatient, waiting for narrators to respond, you can go look up some yourself, see who's done books in your genre, if they have the voice qualities that you want, then you can invite them to submit an audition. It's kind of fun to do anyway if you want to listen to the different voices and the samples, but it would give you an idea of who might work for your book. And on the left, you can see the different filters, the genre, the gender, the language, the accent, the voice age, vocal style, and how are you going to pay? Royalty share, pay-per-view, etc. Okay. So when you get an audition, ACX sends you an email. You get a notice that an audition is waiting for you. Okay, and tells you even what to do now. You go and you listen to the audition, you make notes on it, and then you can send a message with feedback to the narrator. See if I can move this thing. All right, so I know there. We're reading the message from the narrator, listening to an audition. Can she spell correctly in her message to you? Because if she makes spelling or grammatical errors, is this really a person you want narrating your book? And does she sound enthusiastic about your project? Like she really wants to do it. She loves this genre. Check out her social media sites. Is she somebody who's going to help market your book? Does she have acting background? And has she done similar books to yours before? Then you can click, and they don't see this, like, dislike, or maybe on your ACX site if you haven't made up your mind yet. Keep notes on the narrator. Like, what do you like about their voice? What do you not like? Does the voice sound like your main character? Can you distinguish between different characters in a dialogue? Is the narration too small, too fast, too breathy? Is there any background noise? Uh, does the person pause adequately between space breaks and between chapters? So you will want to listen very carefully. These are sample notes from my narrations. Okay. So the first one I didn't like at all. Her voice sounded croaky. I couldn't tell any change between two of the characters, and they sounded like old ladies when they're women in their 30s. It sounded more like a read than an acting. Okay, so that one was an obvious no. Now look at the message from the second one. She can't spell correctly, so that was an automatic elimination. The third one was really good. She has a background in music and stage performance. I liked the voices, so that's a possibility there. And I did respond to each one then because it's polite. You know how you wait to get responses, and you want to do the same thing for your narrators. I just thank them for sending me the narration and tell them I'll get back to them shortly. So that's just polite. And if it doesn't work, then here's the rejection email that I send. I listened several times to your audition, and I'm afraid it's not going to work for me. I do appreciate your effort. So it helps to give some feedback. If we have time, are you seeing your faces in here? Should I downsize that or you're not? You're just seeing the screen? Not if you're just seeing the screen. Okay. Um, if we have time, I can play some of the auditions, but we'll move on otherwise. All right. So the next thing that you would do is to make an offer. It's best to agree off ACX on the price before you make an offer, so you know you and the narrator are in agreement. Ask her if she can send you several chapters at a time so you can start your review process rather than the whole book at once, which would be completely overwhelming. Then you need to discuss scheduling. What's her availability? Does she have I would give it a good 2 months to work on this. When would you get started? When would be the deadline to finish? So you need to get the dates agreed upon. And then you go to the page and you make an offer. So you will have to set the deadlines. You'll be asked to upload a PDF file for your book. And the next thing that happens is the narrator records the first 15 minutes. So you get approval of the first 15 minutes. And there is a deadline set for that too. Okay. And here is the page to make an offer. This is the narrator that I picked. And we had agreed on $200 per finished hour. The estimated length and word count, ACX filled that in. And which payment plan I'm selecting is down at the bottom. I was going to pay for production upfront. And again, they ask you to choose the payment plan, and then you have to set the schedule for the first 15 minutes and for the total book. Now, the offer expires in a few days. I think I had, yes, 3 days at the most. And if the narrator doesn't respond in that 3 days, then your offer expires. Okay, so I gave my approval, she accepted and uploaded the first 15 minutes, and this you need to listen to and either ask for corrections or approve it. Okay, so and everything happens on the ACX site. Now, as you are reviewing each chapter, including the first 15 minutes, these are different things that you want to be careful and watch for. You want to follow along with the text because sometimes there is a mispronounced word, there is a missed word, there are missed sentences. You want to make sure that she follows the text exactly. This is important for Whisper Sync, which coordinates the ebook to the audiobook, and the text has to pretty much match at a high percentage to qualify for this whisper sync. That means if your person's listening to the audiobook and switches to the ebook, it'll keep her place. So some readers like that feature. You want to see if the characters are sounding the way you expect them to sound. Is the voice strong enough? Is it too weak? Should there be an accent? Should there not be an accent? Is the voice sounding too old or too young? So for each character in your story, you will want to listen very carefully. Is there enough emotion in his voice? And is it appropriate to the scene? Or does his voice come across too deadpan and he needs more of a reaction? Can you distinguish among the characters in a conversation? Are the voices for each character consistent throughout the story? Does the narrator pause at each space break and chapter heading? Is the pacing correct, or is it too fast or too slow? How about the exposition? Is it interesting enough, or does it slow things to boredom? Okay, the next thing that you need to do is to listen without looking at the text. Close your eyes and just hear the words because they will sound differently when they are read aloud than when you read them on the page. And you might find things that you missed by looking at the text this way. It's also going to clue you in as to what to do with your next book if you find things that don't sound right, and I do have tips for optimizing your work for audiobook that I learned along the way, and we'll do that later. And also make sure that lines aren't dropped too low for you to be able to hear them, like at the end of a sentence. So you're going to be taking notes on all this stuff as you listen word by word. Now, when you need to note a correction, pause the playback and get the time stamp along with the chapter that you're on and the PDF page number. And I write these in a file on Word so that I can copy and paste the whole thing to the narrator. And I have a copy myself because then you'll want to go through and make sure that these corrections have been done. What you have to do is go back to your book on ACX and click on Request Changes, because the narrator will not be able to go in and do them until you unlock the file. And then you send the narrator a message that you have corrections. Okay, so this is the request. When you request changes, if you want to do this, it tells you how to go about it. And the final thing that you'll need to do is to upload your cover art, which needs to be 2400 by 2400. Please have a professional cover artist do this, and don't just squeeze your ebook cover because it will not look right. So it needs to be done professionally. If you need to, you can click edit the retail information to check that everything is the way you want it. And the final step is to approve the audiobook. At this point, you will be told to pay your narrator. After you do so, remind her that she needs to go on ACX and check off that she's been paid. And then your book will go into review, which could take a couple weeks or so before it will suddenly pop up on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. They don't tell you when it's going to appear, so you have to keep watch for it. If by any chance you want to do a pre-order or link the audiobook release with your ebook release, you can write to them and request that these happen. So that's basically the process. And then you get another, here's the payment approval. So I gave final approval and it's telling me to make a payment. And this says it takes, up to two weeks business days to have approval. Okay, yeah, she's received payment. Now it's going through the review process. And then you will get a notification after the fact when when it's on sale. And then you can go and grab your buy links. You can also get promotional codes to get reviews. So this was the timeline that I had for Perm to Death. Okay, I posted it for auditions on April 12th, 2016, and the final release was in June. So this is why I say allow a good full 2 months for this process. You want to give yourself enough time to be able to listen to the book several times over for the first time, and then to make sure all the corrections are done. And oh, somebody asked 2400 by 2400 PPI. No, that's the basic size of the image. So it's a square image. I'm not sure PPI. I don't think so.
Excuse
It's
me.
a yeah.
PPI is pixels per inch. Is that the
No.
resolution? Are you talking about
Oh,
2400 centimeters, or what is a 2400?
it's the size of the JPEG. So it's not the pixels. It's the actual size, 24 by 24. What it stands for, it'll tell you on ACX.
Yeah, I think it
But
is the pixels, but thank you.
Okay, I know that better. I just asked my cover designer to do it, and she knows what to do. Um, all right, so these are some things that I learned going through it on when you're writing your book to make it sound better on audio. Again, as I mentioned, note each character's voice as they first come on stage. Avoid phrases that sound authorial. Eliminate adverbs as much as possible. Don't start sentences with the ing word because it sounds peculiar when you hear it out loud. Obviously, you want to avoid stilted dialogue, and you will hear this better when you're listening to your book. This is a good one we do all the time. Try not to break up passages of dialogue. For example, you have somebody say something, and then you have an action tag, and then they continue their conversation. So try to put the action tag before or after the snatch of dialogue so it's not broken up in the audiobook. Facial expressions used sparingly or they're going to start to stand out during the narration. Make sure who is speaking is clear. And also it says write shorter chapters because that's easier for the listener, especially if they're going to pause and come back to your book at another time. So I do about 10 pages per chapter uh, at the moment on my books. The longer your chapter is, the longer they have to sit there and listen. So keep that in mind. Once you're done, also, you sign into ACX, you go to where it says My Projects, and you click on Completed Projects, and on each book title. And then you can download each chapter into a folder on your computer. So you want this for backup, and you want it if you are distributing wide, because if you're going over to Findaway, for example, then you will need to upload all these chapters. So you may need to make sure that you have them saved. You can do box sets the same way. This is something I haven't tried yet, but I want to. You put each book uploading the chapters, but you have to have a new intro and a new conclusion because the narrator provides a very short intro saying, "This is Perm to Death, #1 in the Bad Hair Day Mysteries, copyright by Nancy J. Cohen, by Nancy J. Cohen," whatever. So that's the intro. And at the end, she's going to say, "This has been Perm to Death." So you'll need a separate one for a box set. Oh, what happens if the narrator feels you're asking for too many corrections? Uh, I would have a problem with that because if they are valid corrections, you really want them done, and this is something you'd have to work out with the narrator. So maybe before you make your offer, ask the potential narrator, how do you feel about doing corrections? So discuss it up front because you will want to make sure that things are changed to your liking. All right, let me see. Oh, okay, some tips on marketing. You'll want to copy your buy links wherever they are. Confirm that the audiobook is linked to your ebook and your print editions. If not, you'll need to uh, send an email to the support like of Amazon KDP or Author Central asking that the books be linked. And you'll claim the audiobook is yours on all the different sites. Make sure you add it at Goodreads and BookBub and wherever else you can add it. Chirp, you want to make sure your book is listed there. Chirp works with Findaway and they offer deals like BookBub. So you want to make sure your book is there if you are distributing wide. You can't do it if you have royalty share at ACX and you're stuck into an exclusive contract. So on your website, you'll want to add the audiobooks to each book's page And then you'll want a separate audiobook page to list all the books there. You can get codes if you upload your book to SoundCloud. You upload the sample file that your narrator gave you to SoundCloud, and you will get an embed code that you can put on your website for people to listen to the sample there. Make your primary links to Audible rather than Amazon because you make more royalty there. You might want to explain to readers why they might want to try an audiobook, because a lot of people have never tried one and they don't know it might be fun to listen to while they're taking a walk, while they're doing housework, while they're driving, or if they get eye strain and they want to still hear a book. It is very soothing to listen to an audiobook. You might offer instructions on how to download one, and you can offer a free link with an Audible trial, which Audible will give you. Here's how to go to SoundCloud. It's pretty self-explanatory, but this is a place where you'll want to put your books. And this is what my page looks like on SoundCloud. So it has each one of my books listed, and you can play the sample tracks. Let's go. I don't want to play that yet. Okay. Oops. So this is on marketing, some things you can do. Make a list of tweets and posts for each title, each audiobook with the audiobook hashtag. So you can promote on your social media sites, add it to your books board on Pinterest, ask your narrator to list your book on her sites, and create it as an event when you launch the book. So you might want to have a launch party. You might want to do giveaways of your promotional codes, put up new release notices on all your sites, send out a newsletter, write a blog, all the things that you would do for a new release. And there are some sites, which are hard to find, that do audiobook blog tours. So that's something else for you to look into. Also go on Twitter and Facebook and Goodreads and put audiobooks into the search feature, because a lot of sites will pop up. And on Twitter, for example, you can follow those sites and you can even tag them. So you'll have to promote the audiobook the same way you would promote your other books, but you are promoting to listeners rather than in addition to your readers. Okay. If you can get on any podcasts as a guest speaker, that's very helpful because their subscribers are used to listening. So they're more likely to be into audiobooks. And you can interview your narrator as a subject for a blog post. You can discuss the whole process of producing an audiobook. And don't forget to use a promo code to gift yourself a copy as well. Audio clips is something you can do, which are snippets of dialogue or of conversations or snippets from your book. There's a way to do it on Audible that they explain, or you can ask your narrator for it, because then you can use these in your tweets and posts as well. There are bounty referral fees that you can earn. I've not had too much luck with this, but you can go for it. And there's, again, instructions on how to do that at Audible. Make memes to promote your work. I use Canva and BookBrush to do memes. So those are easy sources to do graphics. So this is how I would promote my clips from Hair Razor. So these are different tweets and posts that I would use with a link to the clip where they can listen to the book. So that's how you can use the clips to attract readers or listeners. And of course, getting reviews is always difficult, whether it's for a book or an audiobook. Audiobook is a little bit harder because it's an entirely different market that you're going to have to research. You do get free download codes either from ACX or Findaway Voices through Spotify at their site that you can give away in contests or in your newsletter or on your Facebook page, hopefully in exchange for reviews. There are also audiobook review sites where you can post that you have codes available. And so you'll have to do your homework to find all these sites. Just go to all the social media sites and look for the audiobook people there, and that'll get you started. You can hold contests and give these as prizes. You can also join multi-author giveaways for audiobooks at either Authors XP or Book Sweeps, and that's a great way to build up your mailing list of people who like audiobooks. You can also submit your book to NetGalley. There are various author co-ops where you can do this at a reasonable price to put your book up for reviews on NetGalley. If you have a series, once you have a few books up, then you can promote the series as a whole. Okay, I've just done the first 4 books so far, but this is some of the graphics that I use. These are some more strategies, and again, a lot of this is in the handout. So I think we've covered most of that. Yeah, we pretty much covered most of this, so that'll be in the handout. So here are some of the memes. Okay, this is a regular graphic for Perm to Death, and then this one's for the audiobook with the free 30-day trial. That one. This is one for Hair Razor, and another one for the series. So these are fun to do, and you'll want to do several of them for each title, so you can rotate them. Body Wave won the Roan Award, so here is a graphic with the badge. And there are different audiobook awards that you can apply for as well. This one is through Indie Tale magazine, but there's Audiobook Reviewer is another site. Right now, all my audiobooks are on sale if any of you are interested. They're 50% off through the end of March. And this is Apple, Barnes & Noble, Chirp, Google, and Spotify. Okay, and these are, again, distributed wide through Findaway Voices. If I was only at ACX, Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, I could not do this. Now, here we come to the links, and then we'll open for some questions. To sign up for my newsletter, nancyjcohen.com/newsletter. I have one coming out next week. So if you want to do that, sign up now. You can get a copy of this handout and also a free audiobook code for Perm to Death if you write me at nancy@nancyjcohen.com, and I will put that in the chat box. Okay, but I would appreciate a review if you do download the audiobook. And put that in the chat box. I think that's it. Okay, so I'm going to stop the screen share and type this in. Let's see, email me. And we're now open for questions.
Hi, everyone. Does anyone have any questions? Bill?
Yeah, you talk a lot about audiobooks being like a separate market, and congratulations on having so much success with it. When you're writing the book, are you writing it? You talked about having a script and such, and I always thought audiobooks were just, the script was the book, right? Do you write for an audiobook more than you are writing for a traditional type of book, or what? How does that?
No, the script is a sample of a 15-minute sample of your work that you take snippets from for the narrator to read. Otherwise, you just write your book normally, although using some of those tips for optimizing your work so it sounds better, which I've come to do naturally at this point. Like, don't split up some dialogue with action tags if you don't have to. That's a good one, which you'll see when you listen to your book read out loud. But otherwise, you write your book as you normally would.
Thank you, Nancy. Before we go any further, I wanted to introduce, we also have a visitor who came today. Her name is Jody Leibel or Leibel. I hope I have that pronounced right. She writes in the romantic suspense genre. Dozens of her short stories have sold to Woman's World magazine and Chicken Soup for the Soul. And in 2020, she trained to do voiceover work and currently records audiobooks in her home studio in West Palm Beach. Welcome, Jody.
Hey. Hi, Jody. Why don't you tell us about the narrator's viewpoint?
Okay. It was really, Nancy, I didn't expect any less of you. This was very organized and gorgeously put out. It was very interesting for me and I'm an author, but I've never done an audiobook of my own on ACX or submitted it for an audiobook. But it was very interesting for me, the narrator, to hear your side of the story. I never thought about all that and all the things you have to do. So actually that helped me a lot when I do my auditions. Yeah. Yeah, very nice. We miss you in Fort Lauderdale, by the way.
Oh, I miss being there. I miss everybody. I know. We moved to the Orlando area 2 years ago to be near our kids.
I see you on Facebook. I see you on Facebook. So anyway, I have a home studio. I went through a professional training. I do have acting in my background. There's a little bathroom back here in the hallway, and I took the sink and the toilet out and I put foam on the walls and I made a little booth back there for myself. So and currently I'm doing books for Four Horsemen Publications and Echo Point Books up in Vermont, and Beacon just reached out to me. So I'm keeping busy with it.
So are you listed on ACX or Findaway?
I'm not. And after all that promotion you did of ACX, I'm not a fan of ACX. They're a little difficult to work with.
How about Findaway?
No, and I wrote that down. I'm going to check them out. Thank you for that tip.
Yeah.
Now, ACX is good for the author. Very good for the author. I'll bet you get 80 to 85 auditions each time. Do you not?
I haven't gotten that many because once I found the narrator I liked for book one, I'm sticking with the same narrator. Yeah.
Sure.
Since it's a series.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Although she still has to put in her audition.
Oh, sure. Anyway, it's good. ACX is really good for the author. You'll get a lot of auditions. You will see some of them. Some narrators are working with their phone in their living room, and you're going to see a big difference when you have a studio. Big difference. But you search through all those, and I'm sure you're going to find somebody good on ACX. But from the narrator's point of view, there's a lot of competition. It's better for me to go with a small publishing house. Yeah,
that's great that you can do that.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and I really like it. I enjoy it.
So do you get corrections? Do they send you corrections, or
yes,
do they proof it?
Do. They proof it. They send me corrections, and they're called pickups. Sometimes the author will say, I said Kansas City, but I meant Kansas. Can you cut out the city? Or you missed a word here, or you mispronounced this word, or whatever. I think in my last book I had like 24 little things that they wanted changed. I just go through and fix it up and back. Yeah. And somebody was asking a question about, can you send too many? I don't think you can send too many. They want the book the way they want their book. The only thing I would balk at is if she was the author maybe would go through line by line and say, I want this line a little more happier. I want this line to be a little more sad. That would be the end for me. But generally that doesn't happen because, like I said, I'm an actor and I act the parts out. I'm pretty good with character voices. Well, yeah, sure. Corrections are a part of the game. Send them on.
Yeah.
It's expected.
Okay, Bill, you had a question?
Do those corrections ever escalate to a point where there is just creative differences and you have to part ways or anything along this? I mean, what happens if you're not happy after you've gone through that audition process as a writer? You know, is there opportunity to make changes later, or, you know, as far as people?
There may be. You'd have to look at the terms with ACX or Findaway, whoever you sign up with. You might have to make a payment of some sort, but I didn't find that to be an issue because I was very careful about who I chose. And you will also get that 15-minute sample that you need to approve. So I don't think it's too hard to tell who's good and who isn't. I mean, the bad ones kind of show up right away.
Yeah. That 15-minute sample is going to give you a really good picture of how your book's going to sound. And if you're happy with that, it should flow nicely from there.
Mm-hmm. And somebody who's responsive and agrees to do the corrections and gets back to you pretty quickly. That's a good feature too.
Do we have any other questions? Ed, did you have a question?
It wasn't a question, it was a comment, how much I appreciated this talk, and the whole presentation was just so professional. I mean, my gosh, I'm overwhelmed by this.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then listening to Jody here, one question maybe for Jody. If you have a book where you're switching from female to male to let's say a high-strung female and a gruff male and so forth, you handle all of those voices yourself on that?
Yes, you do. If you have a child, you just you raise your voice a little bit and act sort of like a little kid. If you have a man, you lower your voice. He could have an accent. He could talk faster. If you have 3 or 4 men in a scene, you've got to differentiate all these men. So yes, you're gonna hear a female voice in the male voice because I'm a female, but you can tell the characters.
Yeah, thank you.
Kind of get lost in the story when you're listening to it too, if the narrator's good at the different voices. And yeah, it's a very cool experience to hear your own book that way.
Does anyone, I had a question. If someone wants to put together a book of short stories, can they use different narrators for different stories and combine it into one book?
I don't see how, because you'd have to pay them. The payment would be mixed up. It would be better to use the same narrator for all of them because you're kind of putting it together like an anthology or like the box set would be. And you're going to be downloading the different short stories like chapters. Unless you do each one as a separate story totally and pay each person separately, which gets complicated.
It might be a little jarring too for the listener to go from a man's voice to a woman's voice to a different woman's voice. I don't know if that would work.
Okay. Do we have any other questions for either Nancy or Jody? No, I'm kind of surprised. Well, I'm actually listening to an audiobook today, and Jody, when you mentioned about the narrator changing your voice, when you said that, I realized that, yeah, that's exactly what they do. It's a man talking and he goes higher for a woman, lower for, and he'll speed up for one character, slow down for the other one. Yeah, it's really interesting about, so that's where the acting experience would come in. And it's it's true. Like it's the same voice, but it's how it's modulated and its speed. And some, one person has a raspy voice and swears, and the other one is like sweet and gentle. And that's really interesting.
And a good voiceover actor or a narrator will have had training and had coaching. I went to such a voice academy during COVID because we had nothing else to do, and some you'll see some narrators have no training, and you can pick them out like Nancy says right away, and you just move on to the next one. But there's a lot of good narrators out there and people who have had training.
Voice training. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. Any other questions? Well, Nancy, I want to thank you. That was a fantastic presentation. I had no idea that an audiobook was that involved. I thought, oh, you just give them the script, they read it, and you post it. And no, not even close.
Yeah, it's an intense process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it seems today that the authors have to spend at least 50% of their time on marketing and learning all these new things versus just sitting down and writing. Yeah.
Yeah, and the marketing's a challenge because it's a different market than we're used to.
Yes, definitely. Huh. All right. Any other comments before I hand it back to Bill? Oh, Deborah?
I would just like to thank you, Nancy. Like Gloria just said, I had no idea. And I years ago, I would get stories out of the library and listen them on my cassette tape. Of course, that's aging me, but anyway, that's what I did. And you have sparked my interest in trying it again. So I'm excited, and I'm excited to check on yours. So that will be great. Yes, thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I actually use audiobooks quite a bit. I started when I had long commutes and a lot of heavy traffic. It kept me from road rage in a lot of instances. It kept me distracted when I got cut off for the third time. It was, yeah. And now I use them when I do my walks and when I do tedious tasks that I don't like to do, like dusting or watering in the plants, because the storm took out our weeper hoses, but we don't want to replace them until we get the cage and things back up. So I'm out there watering plants a lot. So I use my audiobooks. So
good idea.
But
I
really
have one more question. Go ahead, Martin. I'm sorry.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I'm an old guy. I've been writing since the 1960s, and suddenly the jungle has gotten much thicker than it ever was.
For sure.
Yes.
I was going to ask basically, in your own experience, are you finding that audiobooks are increasing your sales of the book and such? Is it, is it worth the investment that you're making in it?
Yes and no. I'll be honest and tell you I have not made back the money I've invested. But money trickles in every month from the revenue stream. And it reaches listeners and people who may not have been exposed to my books otherwise, or fans who want to experience it in a different way. So that way it's been worthwhile. And at this point I'm debating, because I've done the first 4 books in the series and there's 18 books total, what to do with the rest of them, because that would be a significant investment, time and money to do the rest. The other option is to sell the rights. And if I sold the rights, I don't know if somebody would also want those first 4 books, so I haven't made that decision yet. I have to finish my current projects first.
Sure.
And royalty share is the option that you can have. It limits your abilities to go wide, but it's affordable, and you can buy out the narrator at some point. So, and my narrator has offered to do that, at least the royalty share plus part.
Jody, what do you think about the royalty share versus being paid up front. How do you feel about that as the narrator? What do you prefer?
Well, I'm with a couple of publishing houses that have mid-list or smaller time authors, and I don't think their sales would warrant that for me. I would have to have a substantial author who really has a lot of sales for that to work out for me.
So you want to be paid up front.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or the royalty share plus is the other option there, and that you help subsidize the production costs as an author, plus you split royalties.
Right. Right.
Okay. So I have a feeling that if you don't pay up front, you're going to get the person with the iPhone in the living room.
No, I think
And
there's
you don't want that. No, you don't want
there may be a lot of beginning narrators who are good just getting
Oh.
into the field too, that are willing to do it.
Just to get their name out and get
Mhm.
exposed. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then once they're off and running, you couldn't get them back again. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, see, a narrator like myself who's been in this for like a year and a half now, I charge $150 per finished hour.
That's reasonable.
Eventually, I'll go up when things,
Mhm.
get better. But you've got to start somewhere.
Very good. All right. Any other questions before I hand it back to Bill to conclude? Oh, Harry, you're muted, Harry. You want to unmute yourself, please? Thank you.
Nancy, thank you for your thoroughness.
Mm.
I've always been curious. I'd always get these these emails encouraging me to try converting my books into audiobooks.
Ah.
And I've always been enticed by that. But
Mhm.
I think I'm going to put it on the back burner for a while.
Well, also investigate those sites that are soliciting you.
Yes.
And check them out on there's a Writers Beware site that lists shady publishers and agents and stuff. So check things out there.
I will do that. Yeah, thank you so much.
Any other comments? Okay, Bill, I'll hand it back to you.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Odie. Thank you, Gloria. It was
Thanks.
very interesting, very comprehensive. Learned a lot today, and kind of opens up the door to a whole bunch of more questions, and
Mhm.
just basically kind of informs me of how much I do not know. So, thank you for doing that. And
Thanks for having me.
our pleasure. Our pleasure. So at this point, I'll bring the meeting to a conclusion. Thank everybody for attending today. Hope to see all our members at the upcoming luncheon on April 1st and at the Readers Workshop coming up in a couple weeks and so. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye, everyone.
having me.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Gloria.
Okay, thank you.